Hi everyone, it's Adina or Adriana, whatever you want to call me, and you are listening to the NJN podcast, Notes from a Jewish Newbie. That's me. Powered by Meaningful Minute. Okay, hey guys, this is my first podcast episode that's in my New York City apartment, which is so exciting. I'm loving New York so far. But today's gonna be like a fun episode. We're gonna be talking about the fun stuff. I feel like my last couple posts and podcasts with Meaningful Minute have been like a little dramatic. Meaningful Minute can be a little bit dramatic, but like this is my podcast. So we're here to hang out, we're here to talk, and I feel like I'm just here to explain to you guys everything that you've been wanting to know has gone on in my head now, before my conversion, during my conversion, but specifically today, I want to talk about kosher and some of my struggles because it just kind of came up on my Instagram story the other day and people were really relating. But speaking of fun, yes, you know, this is my version of fun as a nerdy Jewish Orthodox Jewish convert. They sent me this tea that's Shabbos friendly, and you guys, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. If you guys didn't know, I've actually been trying to quit Celsius. It's been 3 weeks now, so I've still been drinking matcha. This is maybe my next step. I hope you all said amen. Ooh, I like this, and I'm not lying. I'm very picky, actually. When they sent this to me, I was like, why'd you guys send me tea? I only like matcha. Very, very good. Funny enough, this actually brings up something as a convert with kosher, especially, you're super insecure about. So I feel like I was thinking when I made this, I was like, if this was me and I was serving this in my house, I feel like I would do like a disclosure to the people at the table. By the way, I studied my halacha and like this tea is actually allowed on Shabbos. This is a special Shabbos tea, because as a convert, sometimes you're so insecure, but as a convert in kosher, a lot of people are confused about this. We pretend to play kosher because you can't make your house officially kosher. Obviously, there's some people like that were in my life during my conversion who were like, I literally eat treif, I don't care. And I cleared with my rabbi if it was okay if I would like invite them over for Shabbos meals and stuff, because when I originally started to convert, like I didn't really have anyone to spend Shabbos with, which I didn't mind, to be honest with you. I just had like a glass of wine. I actually got up to get the book. I would have like a glass of wine and just chill out and read the concise code of Jewish law, the guide to the observance of Shabbat. It's like the 39 malachas of Shabbos. But then once I started inviting people over, I had to preface to them like, hey, my new apartment has never had treif food in it, but like the kitchen is not necessarily kosher because the dishes have not gone to the mikvah. Some of the dishes were like used another time, and some of my friends were non-Jews at the time, and others were just like not observant Jews. If they were non-observant Jews, I would only feed them on paper and plastic and do like takeout, because like a big thing I'm big on when it comes to Shabbos, like inviting people to my house is they can come. I don't care what they're wearing. I don't care how they get there, but like they're not going to be my Shabbos guy. It kind of reminded me of an insecurity that I feel like I will always carry as a convert. Sometimes I think out loud and I feel like I have to constantly prove myself when it comes to kosher or Shabbos laws. I feel like I'd put this on my Shabbos table, but then immediately be like, by the way, you guys, this is a special Shabbos tea and I studied the halacha on it and it's completely fine and kosher to drink. But that just brought back memories of the same things with kosher would happen to me in my conversion. So a lot of people don't understand this. And the most annoying comment you can get as a convert is, oh, well, it doesn't count for you yet because you're not Jewish. So like you can eat treif. It doesn't matter for you. You can turn that light on. It doesn't count for you. And I always said, like, if I lived my life like that for the entire conversion, I would never become Jewish, because like, how do you just go through the entire Orthodox Jewish conversion process, which takes years, and then just be like, oh, now, day out of the mikveh, now it all matters, now it all counts, now I'm going to start keeping kosher. The amount of mistakes I made along the way, and thank you to my rabbis, they were like, do not buy new dishes. Another thing that people don't realize when it comes to conversion is you really, if you're a super observant Orthodox Jew, you can't eat at a convert's house simply just because at the very least, our dishes don't go to the mikveh. For example, shout out to my mom. She's so sweet. When I converted, she actually, without me knowing, called the local Kabad and was like, can I make my, kitchen kosher for my daughter? I saw on Miriam Mazagui's TikTok that like, I have to take my dishes to the mikvah. And I was like, Mom, you're so cute. But like, no, because a non-Jew can't make a bracha. So a Jew has to own the vessel. A Jew has to make the bracha. Hence why when you have like an electronic thing, I have a lot of electronic things that are in Boca, including a pancake machine, an espresso machine, and a cake pop maker. I wonder how that works halachically. You guys, you got to get that checked out, because I used to own it as a non-Jew. Because if it can't go to the mikvah, then a non-Jew can own it. I'm sorry. I said this was going to be a fun episode. And this is like turning into halacha, but I think halacha is fun. Anyways, the point is my house was not treif as could be, but it was not kosher. When I moved into my new apartment in Boca, I already knew like I was going to be keeping kosher. In fact, I took on kosher right away. I took on having a kosher home, but there's definitely some things I took on gradually still as well. For example, working in Jewish, like Orthodox from families' homes as a nanny, I think better than any convert, like I understood kosher laws, I understood Shabbos laws because I worked in the home. I also made plenty of mistakes back in the day. For example, back in the day, I learned, oh, their food has to have a kosher sign, and OU means Parv, OUD means dairy, whatever. Didn't learn about glatt kosher until like way later, but my point is, then if any of you have followed me on TikTok, I went to the kids and I gave them, like, I think it was Toll House cookies baked in my treif oven. Like, this was literally in college still, okay? So like fully treif, and I was like, oh, don't worry. As the dad comes home, I'm like, don't worry. Like, I made sure they're kosher. He's like, spit them out. And I actually just realized from my other nanny mom, she's like, yeah, I literally took those cookies and I drove home and I and I called like the other nanny mom and was like, tell your husband they're treif. Don't let the kids eat them. But no one was home yet. But thank God, I actually think only the little one had a tiny bite. It was like, there's definitely got to be a Hebrew word for that. But overall, I feel like I had a pretty good understanding about how to set up my kosher kitchen. I already knew right away I didn't want to do like much dairy, but I did what everyone did. I made my microwave dairy, my air fryer meat, my oven meat, and then I was gonna get I got a small mini toaster for my dairy. The sink is like where I started realizing this is treif. This has to be treif. I had one sink in Boca, stainless steel sink. But finally when my Rebbetzin came over and I had like the tray in there and I was like, yeah, like I'm just so confused because everything splashes around and like touches the side. She's like, this is treif. And if you want it to be kosher, then you have to just wash your dairy dishes like in the bathtub. And I was like, she was a Kabad Rebbetzin, by the way. And I was like, okay, sounds like I'm not getting dairy. I'm not eating dairy anymore. But I did in the beginning of my kosher journey eat dairy out because, like I said, a big part of my conversion journey was being very intimidated, witnessing the kosher with like my nanny families before, just how kosher everything, kosher, sneas, Shabbos, they were just fully observant. But then like shout out to like some of my Modox friends, my modern Orthodox friends. I just like got introduced to the world of people who observe and see their Judaism differently. And I was like, oh, like maybe I could be this type of Jew. And so my rabbi was very big on don't keep Shabbos until you're ready. Don't keep kosher till you're ready. He let me make my kitchen kosher, but once again, I'll get into later how that was like a fake kosher. He knew like you're gonna mess everything up. He said, don't buy anything new. Use your regular old like treif dishes. By the way, the air fryer was like the only thing in my house that was like, that thing was so treif. It was literally like 5 years old, but that was the best thing to get rid of once I finally became Jewish. But the apartment itself was brand new. So I was like, okay, like my oven is kosher, and like if I use paper and plastic, like that's how I would feed like people who came to my house if they were like Jewish and observant. Before converting, the things I knew about kosher was separate. This is deep into my nanny like career, I guess. So it's not like right off the bat, but I learned completely separate utensils, completely separate oven, microwave. I even knew that the countertop couldn't have like the pizza box on it. It also depended on the material of your countertop. The sink, I was always a little confused because like shout out to my Boca families, a lot of them just had 2 sinks. So when my sink had one, I was like, this is going to be a problem. And it was. Alas, my house was pretty kosher, but it wasn't truly kosher because it couldn't go to the mikvah. So that's what I mean by my pretend kosher. And even when I would get all worked up about like making a mistake or like accidentally eating treif, it was always so frustrating to be like, Adriana, you literally eat treif every single day in your house. It's kind of crazy. Call it delusion or call it like determination. But I would go to my mother's house and be like, I can't eat off of that plate. But meanwhile, at my house, also equally as treif of a plate, but because my house was like pretend kosher during the time, I was like, that's kosher. Like I'm eating kosher in my house. So delulu, like when I think about it, like looking back, but that's what you have to do. It's also funny, like when I go travel or even like in restaurants, because as I mentioned before, when I originally took on kosher, just like I took on all my mitzvahs, I did them gradually. That's what my rabbi encouraged me to do. So I learned about the modern Orthodox world of people who they'd eat dairy out, they'd eat parv out. And as I started learning the kosher laws, I started getting more and more obsessed. For example, I originally started eating dairy out just like the rest of my friends by having like a kosher house, like kosher home. I also was like really reluctant to throw out like vegan products because I was like, okay, I know it doesn't have a hechsher, but it's like Trader Joe's vegan spring rolls, like whatever. Now I'm just like, it's not Jewish, it's not kosher, it doesn't belong in my house, like whatever. So that's like my rule now. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I wasn't there yet. And this experience is actually what helped me stop eating treif and shellfish specifically. I think the thing most people always want to know from a convert is like, do you miss pork? Do you miss shellfish? Like, wow, is it so hard to give that up? And I will say that every single time when I was as a non-Jew, just like working for the Jewish community, they would say, do you think you could convert? Could you eat kosher? And especially after I started like going to these amazing like steakhouse restaurants in Manhattan, like I was like, oh my gosh, like I could totally eat kosher. But I do love shellfish. I used to love going to get oysters and like white wine with my friends. I used to love crab, like whatever. I loved shellfish and I love seafood. I still love seafood, or I love fish, parv fish, it's kosher fish with fins and scales, obviously. Obviously, what are you doing if you're not eating fish with fins and scales? Hello. But I remember just like I took on all the mitzvahs, I was doing them gradually. I was at this restaurant in Delray. It's called Rose's Daughter. And I was ordering a pasta dish and I was like, I'm going to be good. I'm having dairy. I ordered like some like truffle mushroom pasta. And they're like, okay, that's it. I'm like, yep, that's it. And then they were like, do you want to add scallops or shrimp to that? And I was like, ooh. And I was like, you know what? Like maybe just like the last time, just like the last time. When I tell you guys, I got the worst food poisoning of my entire life. I never wanted to look at another shrimp or scallop again, or any seafood for that matter. And I was like, thank you, Hashem. Like, thank you, Hashem. That's a blessing. Hello. Because like, Hashem, this is such a blessing. Sorry, I already said thank you, Hashem, within the first like 10 minutes of this episode. Enough, Adriana. But seriously, I feel like if it wasn't for that, like even if I was not ready to stop eating like treif and shellfish, Hashem said, joke's on you. Sorry, you are. Because I was scarred. And people say to me to this day, like, another thing, like a lot of converts actually do this, and some people have like spiritual meanings behind it, and other people are just like, yalla, this is my last time as a non-Jew, like it doesn't count for me, which I hate that mindset, but like go off, to each their own. And they have like a free-for-all like the night before their mikvah, which I'm like, what if I went to the mikvah and I had like lobster stuck in my teeth still? Like God forbid. Like what's the halacha on that? Is your conversion can't be real. Like it was a gift to be getting food poisoning, and that's really what kickstarted no more treif, no more bacon. Another one of my fan favorites I used to like not cheat on, but like my house was kosher, and then I remember I would eat on the patio or in my hallway or in my car like this I think it was like from Tap 42, this like amazing like Gruyere cheese bacon burger. And it was so good because I love burgers. But Smash House actually completely fixed that for me. Smash House is the closest thing I think you'd get from like to a treif burger. Shout out Smash House. One of my first ever promotions, like and brand deals ever. Really like amazing ownership, amazing business. But I like found my way, and I started to really like realize I don't need to eat non-kosher because there's so many like alternatives. Help me save money on Uber Eats. I'd say even help me lose like a little weight and be healthy, because it wasn't so easy access like to get food. For example, on like vacation, I realized my entire vacation would be planned around like eating. Like, oh, we're gonna stay at this place, and I'd be like, the first thing I would do if I'm going to Rome, best restaurants in Rome. By the way, like went to Rome, got to have the best restaurants, kosher, non-kosher, and kosher. Thank you, Hashem. I'm lucky. I don't know. I think when I go to these places and people say to me like, oh, is it hard for you? I'm like, no, I already had it. You didn't. Must be hard for you. But essentially, kosher house, started eating dairy out. Then as I start like, learning more and just getting more spiritually connected, Torah classes, and really learning like the Chassidus and the Kabbalah. I don't even know what it would be called, but like I think I read the kosher book like Body, Soul, and Mind, and it was like being kosher is kind of like the energy you put into your body. But the really big selling point for me, I'll get into later, it's just like eating non-kosher was just like not Jewish enough for me. Like, and I don't want to say that and like take away from anyone's identity. I give the whole speeches saying like everything is a step. If you are that person who's taking a step towards kosher, or that's how you like honor and like, connect to Hashem in your Judaism, like go off. Like that's so important. You are still being mindful of your Judaism and Hashem. That's amazing. But for me, as I just got like so more and more connected, I was like, wait a minute, Adriana, this also logistically didn't make sense to me anymore. So I gradually went from eating completely treif, but like a kosher home. Then I would like cheat on treif with like a dairy out. Then I fully went dairy out. So that was like hot, like whatever, Rose's Daughter, Louis Bossy, like whatever I wanted. As long as it was like dairy, I was game. Then I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like as I'm reading the actual science behind kosher, I'm like, y'all, this is all treif. So then I say, I'm just going to do cold parv. So I would go get like a salad with like burrata on it, like cold. Because like, in kosher laws, like cold and hot is like a very big difference. And then I started with the kosher sushi. And I was like, once again, it's parv, it's cold. The only transgression's the dishwasher. And then I just got to the point where then I would do like Parv, fruit and vegetables, vegan, like, yeah, bowls blended, which there's so many different opinions on that. Like, depending if you even have like availability of kosher food, always ask your local Orthodox Rav. But essentially, I just got to the point where I really loved who I became, especially like when I was home in my set schedule. And sometimes like the most tempting times would be like when I was friends with people who would eat like mixed levels of kosher, or going to like, I always say the Delta lounge, the airport lounge, anything like when it's like free, it's like hard. It's like, this looks so good. But yeah, you just like kind of realize like I can also have a banana. But I'm a big like in my head, I will run through my head, how is this actually allowed? Like the hard boiled eggs in the Delta lounge, or this quinoa salad, I'd be like, the shell's on it or the shell's not on it. Is this egg, like, is there actually contamination getting through the egg shell if it's just boiled in a pot? What really sold it for me was like, I remember seeing like a cholent egg and the shell was on, and then when he peeled the shell, everything seeped through the shell. So I was like, oh, it does get in there. But you know what? I found my way very quickly, and kosher's not been a problem for me. The reason sometimes kosher is like temptation, it's not like I wish I could have that. Like I always say, like when I was in Milan, someone from the kosher.com trip was like, is it so hard for you to like just see all this amazing like food and just like want it since like, you've had it? And I was like, so not in Milan specifically, but like some places I'm like, I have literally eaten at that place. Like I've had that already and I don't need it anymore. I already had it. Like I said, I'm like, you guys didn't even get to try it. I at least got to try it. So like checked it off my list and like now I'm kosher. But like you can always get a kosher alternative. And it just kind of got down to like the true connection I had with kosher. Like the deeper meaning was we have kosher because Hashem wanted us like separate. And I mean this in the best way possible, but like kosher is about separating, meat and milk. Kosher is because Hashem said so. And it's so clearly written in Torah. There's a lot of things that like we observe that through like the oral Torah and like rabbinical customs and laws, but like, it says don't eat, fins and scales, and it has to have chew its cud. But more than anything, I started to realize kosher really helps with things like assimilation. It really helps with things just like, it's a slippery slope for me. Even now, I just found myself not liking to put myself in those situations because I was like, you know what? What is making me different than this person in the non-kosher restaurant? Just because my pizza has cheese and theirs has pepperoni, even though it's baked in the same pizza oven, I kind of started to look past the science, same way as I have with Shabbos, same way as I have with sneas, and I stopped looking back at the science and like all the little details, and I just started saying like, it's not Jewish. And when it comes down to like what I want to debate in my head of like, oh, because we all know there are plenty of things you can eat like out and about. You just have to know your laws correctly. The more you know, the more you can do, as my rabbi always says. But like I just said, like, why do I need to do this? Hashem gives me so much. And even the other night when I was really like I said, I wasn't tempted. Like, I really wish I could do this. I really want that. I just said to myself like, maybe it's even more of a mitzvah to pay extra for the expensive kosher sushi. Because like Hashem provides for me anyways. Like everything we have financially comes from Hashem. So I was thinking like, Hashem, if you see me making this sacrifice, like then it's like for the greater good, I guess. I don't know. And overall, like I had not a problem at all letting go of kosher. That was kind of a long rant. Hopefully that was clear. But now to get into like more of like the casual fun stuff with kosher, I don't miss anything. But I will say kosher restaurants don't do blue cheese and like buffalo. They just don't do buffalo. I tell you right now, every single kosher place I've went to that's like buffalo lollies. No. Okay. That's some type of, I don't know what it is, you guys, buffalo's not sweet. Buffalo, every kosher place does buffalo lollies. Like it's like a sweet sriracha sauce. No, it's supposed to be like a buffalo sauce. And maybe you can't like picture it, but like, I don't know. I've made buffalo sauce that's kosher with hot sauce and like parv like butter in my house. I don't know. We got to get on that, you guys. But like, once again, it's just not one of those things. It's like, I can't live without it. I always say with kosher, there's always a kosher replacement unless it's like shellfish. And for me, after getting like food poisoning, I didn't need it. Even with bacon, I actually think beef bacon is better than like pork bacon because pork bacon is fattier and greasier. You pay a lot of money still and like half of it's fat. But then with beef bacon, oh, and lamb bacon, excellent. Have you had like the Wall Street grilled beef, hanging beef, the lamb bacon on some of these burgers, like to die for? Would never think twice. Second of all, I have a dairy allergy, and to be honest, a very severe one. My entire life, I have been chronically sick. I went gluten-free for 2 years. I always had tried to avoid dairy. I was always bloated. Like I would go to Carrabba's as a kid and have to lay down and sometimes even throw up because the garlic and the butter and stuff just hurt my stomach. And I would get like really depressed because even when I would say I'm eating clean, I'm eating Whole30, or I'd go to Chick-fil-A, I'd get a grilled chicken salad, my stomach would still hurt me. Or I'd go to a restaurant and I'd get a grilled steak with broccoli, I'd say no butter, my stomach would still hurt me. And I'd say like, what is this? Like I thought my dairy allergy was just like ice cream, like broccoli and cheddar soup. Obviously those are like public enemy number 1 to my stomach, but like public enemy number 2 was the fact that all of these non-kosher restaurants, they were soaking their chicken in buttermilk. They were soaking their steak in butter. Not only does that make that so unhealthy for you and like so many more calories and stuff, but like it made me so sick. You guys, it wasn't until I went to Tabernacle, had like a 10-course meal and was like, I'm not even bloated. What? So I can eat cholent all day on Shabbos. I'm not even sick. Like, oh my gosh, like it was life-changing to me. And I think the number one question I always get for kosher is, Shelfish, why do I miss it? Which I already went over. And I just wish we could try a steak with butter. You guys, have you been to Wall Street Grill? Have you been to Reserve Cut? Have you been to Tabernacle? Oh, so all these places like Lamppost Bistro, they're all amazing. And they don't use butter. Use Parv butter, use truffle butter, use bone marrow. Hello, like whatever, truffle butter, Parv, obviously. My point is it's so good and we don't need all that. Hashem knows best for us. And yeah. Whether you want to look at kosher from a spiritual perspective as filling your energy with like holy kedusha, pas Yisrael, chav Yisrael, or you just want to look at it as like, this is what like Hashem wanted. There's actually scientific reason behind like waiting between meat and milk, separating things, or like a truly deeper spiritual connection of like the big picture. We are Jews. We are separate. Our food is separate and we are the chosen nation. And it doesn't mean that we are better. It doesn't mean that the other nations, because they eat crustaceans and my mother eats like buttermilk chicken, doesn't mean she's any less of a person. Hashem loves them too. It just means that this is what we do. And this is something that helps us always stick together and remind us of being a Jew and just like living for Hashem. Overall, kosher just makes me think when I make a bracha on the food, when I'm traveling, and I just remember I'm having a banana or I'm having bar number 4 on this plane. I just think if Hashem wants me to do this and this is what it means to be Jewish, like look at all the other blessings I've had in my life. Like, I don't care, I'll do it. There's always other food and food does not consume my life now. I love kosher food. I love Parv. Parv's my favorite. But we should talk about how confusing Parv is in the kitchen actually. So if you watched my first podcast episode, you watched me try my first ever Shabbos friendly iced tea. No need for a tea essence here. I'm obsessed with the watermelon mint flavor. They also sent me the pineapple coconut. I still haven't tried the peach because I'm just too obsessed with these other flavors, but you start out with an iced glass of water and their little tea triangle pyramid bag. And let me put the mic down so I can show you how it works. Give it a little shake, even though you don't actually have to shake it. It starts to seep right away. And before your very eyes, you can see we are making some iced tea, but we're not creating on Shabbos. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I'm obsessed. So order on Amazon now, the Wysotsky Cold Breeze Shabbos friendly iced tea. I also wanted to touch on the whole Shelfish thing, how I said a lot of converts, a lot of people will say, oh, your mikveh day is this day. So like, are you going to have like an all out treif fest? Like, and I actually know people who like the night before they had a whole bunch of shellfish or a whole bunch of like, I don't know, buffalo wings or something like that with like ranch. Ooh. Ranch, by the way. I always say the goyim love ranch. I love a good ranch. And whenever I go to a kosher restaurant, that's the only thing they also need to work on. Guys, work on your buffalo, work on your blue cheese, and work on your ranch. Every time they're like, we don't have ranch. And I'm like, why not? I know we're like kosher, but this is still America. We love ranch. And I have to get a garlic aioli or something. No. Oh, I love a good ranch. And Peas, Love, and Carrots has a recipe for like Parv ranch. And I was like, yes, I'm going to make this. I love Parv. I love ranch. If my entire life, like my kitchen in Boca was a meat and Parv kitchen. I guess like, yeah, if we want to make it concise to put this in there, top 3 kosher struggles. Number 1, when it's free. I just like, who doesn't love a good free treat? Like, who doesn't love a good sample? That's number 1. Number 2, when you're comparing the prices on like Uber Eats for like kosher versus non-kosher. But number 2 cancels out in my opinion because the wait time for a non-kosher restaurant versus a kosher, unbelievable. Because no one's ordering from the kosher restaurant because there's obviously a very smaller like demographic. And yeah, like I said, the lounge is hard for me. I remember like, oh, this is a funny story. So I remember a time I was really tempted in the lounge. And once again, I'm never tempted to like eat straight up treif. Like I'm just going to have a nice meal, a nice steak meal at the lounge or wherever. But I was dressed so sneeze. Another reason why I like intentionally will dress sneeze like when I'm in an environment where I might not be like a typical Jewish environment, like traveling, a concert, like, because it reminds me like I'm Jewish. Like I just say like, it's not for me, and I'll have my snack. I'll have my Uncrustable. I'll have my my banana, like whatever it might be. Like I'll just have it in my bar and I'm good, because like food doesn't control my life anymore. And I remember I already repeated that. But one of the biggest times I was sitting at the Delta Lounge, I was looking at the bar, I was dressed like very sneeze, I was traveling, and I was like, like how treif is that? And I was like arguing with myself in my head. I was going down all like the halacha I knew. I'm like, okay, if this is a kosher brand and maybe it's cold, it's like a salad, but they have like this almond like pecan thing in it, but like what if that pecan brand is kosher? And I'm like just going on about, I'm like, and I could add this egg, and what about this sauce? This is just cottage cheese, and what if the cottage cheese, because it's cold, and yada yada. I just say, you know what? Like I look like very sneeze and Jewish right now. By the way, fully like converting, but like not converting publicly. So I could have done whatever I wanted and no one would have said anything. I like even did a little look around and like don't see anyone who looks Jewish. And I'm like, you know what? I look Jewish enough right now. I'm wearing the skirt, I'm wearing the leggings, like whatever else people might say makes me look Jewish. And I was like, Mar Zion, like I'm not going to get up here and like eat this big plate of food. And I just was like, not for me, whatever. I didn't like take anything. I literally get a DM the same day. Hey, were you in the LaGuardia like Delta Lounge today? I think I might have saw you. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just like, first of all, I mean, maybe no one else has this problem, but like I have this problem because I'm a known figure online. And I was like, oh my gosh, like once again, it wouldn't have been anything wrong. And like the things I was debating were not, I don't even think totally wrong. I don't even know. I just decided I'm not going down that path because Mar Zion and like, I don't know. I don't want to have guilt. I don't want to make a mistake. And I was like, this is why. This is literally why. Like, because I'm always being watched. So like another reason, like, thank you Hashem, that I am like this social media person, because it just like also keeps me in check. Even when I want to like investigate, like, is this okay? Like I said, I really hope this is not coming across like, oh, she definitely is like going to have a steak burger if no one's looking. That's not the case. I worked so hard for this. I would be so mad at myself. I'd be like, Adriana, what a joke. And it's such a slippery slope. Like it is such a slippery slope. And yeah, that's like probably my funniest story when it comes to kosher. But these laws actually just help me like not have to bring anything to like all these people's houses. Every single, like the Kabad Central community was so amazing to me. Guys, if you're watching this, like all the meals I had, I was so blessed. I have like the best like nanny families and like nanny moms, shul moms, they're interchangeable. Like when I'm talking about them, this is like my community in Boca. I was hosted for every single meal, every single Shabbos, every single holiday. Like they are my family. And I never had to bring anything, because like sometimes I'd offer to buy, but like they would not want me. I couldn't bring anything. I couldn't make anything, which like thank God, because you guys like know I'm a terrible cook. Like they wouldn't want what I had anyways. But like I literally, first of all, I couldn't ignite the flame because I wasn't Jewish. Second of all, it was a Chabad community, so they're all Chav Yisrael and like Pas Yisrael. So like I couldn't, if I wanted to be like, let me bake some sourdough in my oven that my neighbor's Jewish that she turned on the flame, like it was not gonna work. It was literally not gonna work. Like then the oven was, even if the oven was like kosher, there was a lot of problems. So yeah, that's how we're fake kosher. And then I was so excited. But in the meantime, I did get quite a few like gifts sent to me for like dishes and stuff. And at a certain point, like Lainey home, I have the dishes now and I'm making a video about taking them to the mikveh for the first time. It was awesome. I had those dishes sit in my house for almost a year and a half maybe. And I said to her, look, like at this point, like companies and people started finding out I was converting, and I was like, I am converting. Please don't tell people, but like I would love these dishes for my new apartment. I think it's gonna happen soon. Psych, it didn't happen soon, but whatever, you know. But I just can't use them. So like, if you want to send them, great, but like I can't post them till I don't know when. And they were always so sweet. People were like, yes, oh my gosh, like we're so happy for you. And lo and behold, we'll be posting them. And I sat and stared at those dishes for literally a year and a half. I would cry sometimes. Like I would literally sit on the couch when I was like having a bad day about my conversion, and like I'd be reminded, because these dishes, a box of them was stacked in my, like you could look in the back of my videos, it was the box of stuff on like green bench. And like, what was all that stuff? Yeah, that was the stuff that Adriana couldn't use when she wasn't Jewish, because like it couldn't go to the mikvah and I didn't want to make it treif and it was so expensive and nice. And I would just look at it and I would be like reminded, like and I can't even use all my stuff. Like, when will I ever be able to use you? Like, oh my gosh. And it was the most exciting thing ever. And that's kind of why I'm a nutcase. Like, shout out to my roommate about like kosher now, because I'm like, I protected these for so long. And like the few things I could use, like I was so OCD about it. I was like, I'd like hide it. Like when a dog sitter come to my house, I'd hide like my Parv custom cutting board. I got Parv knives and like, yeah, I was like, no one's allowed to use this. Like I was so nuts, but I'm a little nuts. What can we say? I'm really liking this tea. I feel like it'd be like a good little like cocktail topper too. It's very minty, very refreshing, very watermelon-y. I'm very happy. Oh, I have such a good like story. So in my conversion, I davened via Kabad Central. It was one that was like closest to me. Kabad Central Boca, they were amazing. And one of my her name is Miriam, and she was Baltuva, and so we were all like growing together. And she was like, "Do you ever go to Trader Joe's?" She's Israeli, so like her accent's like so like, "Do you ever go to Trader Joe's?" And like I'm just staring at the box, like hoping a kosher symbol will appear. And you guys, like when I first started like really checking for symbols, I remember like the B Corporation symbol. Like I fully was like, that looks like a kosher symbol to me. Put it in the cart. Like I did not want to like accept that like this is probably not kosher. It was like a vegan. I think B Corporation means like a vegan certified facility, which like, hey, like not a bad thing if you're gonna eat like non-certified. I guess if that's like what you're gonna do, it's not terrible. But for me, like in the home, like I'm like so like, no, you gotta keep strong. Don't bring it in your home, whatever. But we started bursting out laughing at Kiddush one day because we were like, she's like, yes. She's like, I sometimes look at it and I'm like, like maybe if I stare at it longer, like it will become kosher. Like because it was hard. It's like Trader Joe's is a really hard one. And if you hang out with me, you'll catch me saying like, oh my gosh, I love Trader Joe's soup dumplings. They're so good. And then I'm like, wait, I don't know if those are kosher. Like I've eaten them before, but like I have to see, like maybe I haven't bought them in like a year. So it's so funny. I saw this popcorn on the beach and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best popcorn ever. And then I was like, someone's like, is it kosher? I'm like, I don't know if it's kosher. Like I have to check myself sometimes. Oh, one of the funniest things was actually when I was at my Rebbitzin and Rabbi's house for Sukkot, they invited a family and like one of the sons went to FSU. I went to FSU. So I'm like, no way, you went to FSU? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, obviously dressed like this. Okay. Like fully sneeze, like eating at the rabbi's house, like fully observant. Like, and he's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, like I used to work at Madso. And he's like, Madso is the best. And like, dude, like their food is so good. Like their Madso burger and their like drinks and like, oh, I love their hot toddy, which by the way, their hot toddy was a skillet. I should make this. A skillet of tater tots topped with pulled beef short rib, at least not pork. Then topped with queso, green onions, sriracha, and if you wanted to add bacon, you could. Oh, and if you wanted to add buffalo chicken, you could. Oh my gosh. It was like the best thing you'd ever want to eat. Like, oh my gosh, especially as like a college kid, you were just like, we'd all eat it in the back. And I was like, it was so good. And then like, he just kind of like laughs uncomfortably. And he was like, so have you like always been religious? And I was like, oh, I'm not even Jewish actually. It happens all the time because I like just forget. Like people are perceiving me one way. And if they didn't already know my social media, I would say like, oh, my name's Rose. Or they go, hi, like I'm Chaya. And I go, hi, nice to meet you. Like my name doesn't matter. Not that like you can't be Jewish and named Adriana, but I feel like when you're like, Adriana, they're like, Adriana, that's not one of like the 5 like matriarch names of Judaism. Like, where are you from? Like, what camp did you go to? And I'm like, none of your business. Which brings me into my experience at Camp Dina. So if you want to stick around for an extra segment, I went to camp and yeah, it was pretty epic. I went to my first ever Jewish camp. It was awesome. We can summarize this as I love kosher. I love the hottie toddy at Madso, but I love Hashem and kosher way more because I love everything about being Jewish. Kosher restaurants need to work on their buffalo sauce and ranch availability. Meat restaurants for the win. Number 3, Parv. I'm a Parv princess. I love Parv. I have a sweatshirt named Parv. I should have wore that for this episode and a hat from Yonitzi's. Literally, Parv is life. I love Parv. I could be Parv for the rest of my life. Semen's my favorite go-to. And number 4, I'm so glad that I got food poisoning from Shelfish. I never want it again, but sometimes I am tempted when I watch the TikTok videos of the like crawfish Louisiana seafood boil. I never really had one of those authentically, and I never had sea urchin either. Apparently the ice cream of the sea. Before we get back to the episode, I want to talk about something big. Meaningful Minute just released its first ever feature film, Homeless, a powerful story about identity, exile, and return. You can watch it exclusively at njn.plus. Again, that's njn.plus.
We have so much here. Where are you guys based off?
I was in Punta Cana.
Of Cabo. Is that Gullis?
No, but
not at all.
we don't know what we're missing out on. It really is, but we just don't know it.
I want the Geula, but we do have a lot. Is Gullis supposed to be like this? We've invested billions into living in America. Will we have to leave that all behind? And if we're in Gullis, then what do we make of the comfort, luxury, the routines? If exile is supposed to be so bad, why does this feel so normal? Shouldn't something about all this make us very uneasy?
I'm on a mission right now. What Gullis is. A lot of nice things here. What's our Gullis?
You're not allowed to build big houses in Gullis.
We can't really be comfortable.
What do you think is the worst tragedy that can befall this bungalow colony? I'll tell you, Mashiach coming.
So if you guys didn't know, I didn't go to Jewish camp and I didn't go to Jewish sleepaway camp. Fun fact, that was like the giveaway. Like when I'd meet people who didn't know I wasn't Jewish, they didn't know my like social media. Like I'd be at a Shabbos meal, I'd be like sneas, observant, like sometimes like the one of the only observant ones in the room. And then like it would start to come out like, oh, what's your name? Rose. Fair enough. Like passes. Like, oh, like where are you from? Boca. Checks out. Oh, where did you go to college? FSU. A little wild. If they went further and inquired about my major, opera singer, vocal performance, definitely threw them off. I'd be like, yeah, I didn't grow up religious. And by the way, everybody knows this, like not because I'm trying to hide my conversion, but because like, I just didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to talk about my conversion. And then I'd get asked, where did you go to camp? And I'm like, where did you go to camp? How about you answer first? And I'd be like, I went to the same camp, but like that camp shut down. I went to Camp Ruach. I went to Camp Rena. Like they're like Camp Rena's only for 5-year-olds in Boca. I'm like, okay, that's all I know about it. Like it's such a cultural thing that Jewish girls and boys get to experience. And I was like, I'm missing out. So when I converted and I was like, and this will still happen, by the way, I said like the piece that I'm missing to like my conversion, there, like my background, my Jewish background, like helps me really hop like everything I need to know about like being a Jewish girl is camp. There's so many TikToks about it. I love Brianna Apple. I love Libby Shio. Like their entire persona is about camp. This girl Chloe, they're all like, that's like their identity. And I'm like, I never went to Jewish camp. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to become a camp counselor or something one day. Thank you, Hashem. We can't go an episode. If this was a drinking game, I would say, take a shot every time I say thank you, Hashem, and you would forget the entire episode. But instead today, we'll just take a sip of the Wisconsin. I don't know why this is so hard for me to pronounce, especially since it's probably of German descent, Yiddish, and I can't pronounce it. Wisotski tea. I'm still loving it. This is the watermelon flavor, and I'll stay tuned if I love the coconut one as well, because I love coconut and pineapple. Maybe I'll drink the coconut pineapple one December of New York, so I can just close my eyes and pretend like I'm back in Florida on the beach, thinking it's a pina colada. That's going to be rough for sure. Anyways, what I'm really here to talk about is camp, you guys. I went to camp for the first time. I spoke at Camp Dina, and I hope I get to go to many more camps. It was an all-girls camp in the mountains of New Jersey. Oh, the Poconos, I think. The Poconos. Guys, it was awesome. And the girls were so cute and sweet. The bunk situation was a little wild, but like, I'm at camp. That's my bunk. I had a bunk and everything. They were so cute. And I was like with my girls. And as I started experiencing, I'm like, guys, I'm writing down all of like these things because like this is like camp coded. Like this, I was like, you guys, I'm like learning so much. And then I'm going to show you guys that I learned about like the davening dance. I mean, like, I learned about like this like hand motion benching. I learned it and everything. First things first, this is something I thought was so weird about camp, but so awesome and cute because I am a diehard fan of these things as well. Everyone has their own crouton bin. Like all the girls are carrying around their own little croutons. You know those little yellow croutons? Like I might even have some in my house. You know, like the yellow Jewish croutons, like whatever they're called. I literally call them like the Jewish croutons. Oh my gosh, I love these things so much. And I like, of course, like, because I'm Jewish now, like I have to love them, whatever. Literally every single girl, like these little girls all had their little ones. They were like holding them around. They all had like their name on it. And I'm like, wait, like if I go to camp again, like I'm bringing my own crouton thing and I'm like gonna set up an activity of like decorate your own crouton bin, because like I guess at camp like they all have to go with their own snacks. It was so cute. Like they were sharing their snacks and stuff with me, because like like at camp like sometimes the snack selection can be slim, especially since on Shabbos like they don't have like the shop open because we can't buy. So I was like, oh, like this is your snack, like this is your water, like for the fast. Like a little girl, she was so sweet, she gave me this like body armor before the fast. Guys, best fast of my life. Like I literally owe it to her. So shout out girly pop. But I needed to bring my own crouton container. Thank God some of the girls shared with me, but like, what? Like, I wouldn't have known that. See, this is why I need to go to camp, so that I don't send my kid to camp one day without a crouton. Like, chas v'shalom, like they don't have their own crouton bin. Camp time? Number 2 is camp time. What the heck, you guys? What is camp time? Like, they kept in like the negotiations of things like, oh, but like, you know, we're starting camp time. I'm like, camp time. Like, well, you're on city time. I'm like, camp time. What? Why is camp time? And I'm like, are we keeping Shabbos early? Are we keeping Shabbos late? I'm so confused. I still don't fully understand it, but like once I had no phone, I'm like, y'all, I'm on camp time. So like, let's go. Camp time. But like camp time basically means an hour behind, but like we still somehow started Shabbos on time. Math and elapsed time and stuff was like not my strong subject in school, if you could have guessed. Camp time, if I can figure it out correctly, is like basically an hour later. So when it says davening's at 10 a.m., it's actually 11 a.m. city time. Or maybe it's 9 a.m. city time. Oh, see, I don't even remember now, but like everything was later. Like I think it said camp. No, I think it was like camp time was 10 a.m. was davening. And then like that actually like my body's time for city time was 9 a.m. I don't know. But it was like really weird. And I was like, okay, like nothing good or bad, but like I would have to learn that. Oh, this was a good one. You guys know how much I love Yakira Bella. Well, so does the entire camp. Like now I know, like, hey, like Yakira Bella's bills are paid by like Camp Dina and like all the moms like from who bought their daughters those clothes. You guys, not only is camp a fashion show, hello, I literally said to the camp director, like, I kind of show up fancy wherever because like I have all these cute clothes. So I'm like, whatever. I like to be like wearing cute dresses. I've always been like that. I don't care if I'm overdressed. Like I have so many dresses and skirts, like might as well wear them. She's like, oh, we're not fancy around here. I was like, do you have a steamer? She's like, I don't know. We're not fancy around here. I'm like, what? Like, there was like almost 600 girls, or maybe there was like 300 something girls there. I was like, some of these Jewish mothers definitely packed them a steamer. Lo and behold, Sarah, shout out Sarah, gave me a steamer, and like I had a steamer, and then I walk out and like, of course, like I was wearing like, my Yakira Bella skirt, the Sylvie skirt, so cute, and matching purple top. Literally, of course, the whole camp looking to the nines. Like every outfit, it's a fashion show. And I'm like, wow, like this is intimidating. Like good thing I pulled up with my best. Like else these girls are going to laugh me off the stage. The whole camp was wearing like Yakira Bella. And of course, because I like have everything owned by them, my entire wardrobe is them. Like everything, I was like, oh, I have that skirt. I have that skirt in the shorter length, of course, because like I went through a journey, whatever. Oh, I have that in a different color. And like, it was so funny. And I was like, dude, I'm literally one of them. Like, how am I 10 years older than these girls? And I'm just like at the dining table, like doing their little hand motions. I'm like, I fit right in. Hopefully I fit in. I don't know. Oh, I feel like all of us were just like crying, like for no reason. Like, I mean, I cry in every speech I give, like, because I just am like an emotional, dramatic person, but like literally like we're all just crying. Like we're learning, like this little girl gave like such an amazing like Dvar Torah about something. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she's just crying. I'm like, that's so beautiful. Like and I like walk out, like I started crying and tearing up because I like walked out like right before Shabbos started. And I just like see the whole campus full of like my sneeze queens. Like they all like just like look so, I would say like they look so bas melech, like they're so cute. And like I was like, oh my gosh, like I just love it. And I love like all girls events. I also teared up and started crying when it was like the girls singing event. I started to sing at a certain point, which was like totally a mistake because I was like, I couldn't even hear myself. I don't even know half the words, but it was fun. We were all just singing like as girlfriends, and it was like, yeah, I never sing for just fun, but I sang for fun for like the first time ever, not even opera. And it was like trash but fun, and it was like girl time. Like it was so cute. I just love separate girls events, and I definitely would send my kids to a girls only camp. Sorry right now, kids, but like that's just the best way to do it. And I just feel like they were like so much ruach. I also learned like before I got into camp, like Shani Plotzker taught me like, we have ruach, how about you? No, we have ruach, yes we do. We have ruach, how about you? And then I also learned like an NCSY Shabbaton, which like is also kind of like camp. The like shavua tov, shavua tov, shavua tov. So cute. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I definitely teared up like 20 times at like camp for no reason. We'll like skip the bunk situation just because like I think every place is like this, but like yeah, you got to really pull up with like the 9s, but they were so nice. Like I obviously didn't show up traveling with like my whole bedding set, but like they handled it for me. But like I bet you some of these girls' rooms are like cute, like really cute. Okay, and then for the final segment, the eating experience. First of all, it's so cute. Like they all like, I don't know if they're servers like the whole camp or like they like rotate, but like there's like the waitresses and the servers. But then like my only critique is like I literally kind of have a little bit of PTSD. Like I'm literally eating and then all of a sudden like the tablecloth is just like being ripped out from underneath me. They're like, we gotta clean up. I'm like, clean up for what? Like clean up for what? Like I talk a lot obviously, so I don't eat much when I'm eating slow because I never stop talking. And like literally I'm like eating and I'm like, oh my gosh, like my food's going away. Like, I'm having a panic attack. Like not actually, but like I was like, good gosh, people, let me slow down for a second. Let me eat my chicken tender. But then the benching, I'm gonna show you guys the dance. I could never do the words together, but I'll eventually learn the song because like I got to. Like I have to do it. Like I have to learn. I bench in English, which is by the way amazing. Arts Girl put out a beautiful post about just how benching should be our reset for the week. Like it's literally saying thank you. My favorite line in benching is he does good for us, he will do good for us, and he has always done good for us. Like it's just once again another reset for the week to remind everything comes from Hashem. Hashem has always had me and like always will. That's why I adopted in English. But I eventually want to learn this cute little song because now I know the cute little dance. I was so startled. And midway through this little like dance, they like lift up the table while we're eating. It's a whole production, you guys. Like the dancing at the camp, it's a whole production. It's super cute. But let me show you now. I'll close off the segment with my with like what I learned. Okay, ready? I don't know how to do it quickly. I could read it in Hebrew, but it would be very slow. And I liked English. Okay. But this is the dance we did at Camp Dina. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. And then they go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. No. Oh, I messed up. Okay, let me try one more time. I messed up, but like mind you, they do this when they're singing in Hebrew. So like, wow. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then we high five each other's friends. 1, 1. I think I might have added an extra step. But we'll get there. Bye.